Formula 1 1975. We are kicking off in Buenos Aires for the Argentine Grand Prix for round 1. And what we see is carlospace in the Brabham on pole, and the rest of the grid is a little bit false because whatever I did to edit his grid position, the game kept bringing Grahamhill up in second place on the front row, even though he qualified 25th. And although I tried to do a few ways around this, it would have involved having a duplicate. So I decided to not go with the duplicate. So Grahamhill has got a second place. It is false, but we'll see if he can stay there. Jochen Mass is third on the grid. Nikilauda fourth in the Ferrari. James Hunt fifth for Hesketh. Carlos Reutemann sixth in the second Brabham. And they'll be hoping that they can do something in that famous, certainly 40 years later, that famous Martini livery. The early days of it, of course, here. Emerson Fittipaldi starting in 7th place. Lella Lombardi 8th in the March. And that was a genuine performance. Lella Lombardi has actually qualified 8th. So, fantastic from her. Tompryce 9th. Jody Scheckter 10th. Jean-Pierre Jarier in the shadow 11th. Vittorio Brambilla 12th. Then you've got Hans Stuck 13th. Or Hans Joachim Stuck, I should say. Ronnie Peterson 14th in the Lotus. Kalai Regazzoni 15th. Really poor from him. His teammate Lauda struggled, but Regazzoni did even a lot worse. Patrick Depailler behind him. Then Jean-Pierre Jabouille making his debut in a third Tyrrell that they are running for Jabouille this year. Jackie X will start in 18th. So Lotus really poor, 14th and 18th on the grid. 13th and 17th technically, but you get my drift. Mario Andretti 19th in the Parnelli. 20th for Mark Donoghue in the Penske. Wunderink 21st in the Ensign. John Watson 22nd for Surtees. And looking back, we see Arturo Mazario in the Williams in 23rd. Alan Jones in his private Hesketh starting from 24th on the grid. And Jacques Lafitte starting 25th. And then the rest back, Stommelen and everybody else back to the back of the grid, 32 runners. So here we are going to watch carlospace starting from pole position. If Grahamhill gets away well, that could just make the victory for Pache, couldn't it? Well, Pache is away. There he goes, the camera angle only focused on him. Now we can see the other runners. And you see, that is the Mclaren and Mars there. But Grahamhill, at the moment, still holding second place as they come down to the first corner. And there we can see that Grahamhill is, they're all boxing behind him. There's Grahamhill. I think we're going to watch Graham because it should be interesting in seeing who can get through. Pache has got this chance to pull away, and he will try to make the most of that and get a win at the start of the season. There we go. There's that Brabham. And if Pache can get the win, that'll be a fantastic start to the season for them. Grahamhill in second. He's held on. I thought he wouldn't hold on to second place this long considering the lack of pace of the Embassy Hill, but Grahamhill is doing very well. Jochen Mass has got to come past him. James Hunt and Nikilauda there, and Emerson Fittipaldi. They are in the lower reaches of the points at the moment. They'll be hoping that they can move forward. We think that Ferrari is a pretty quick car, possibly the class of the field, but they have not shown it at all this weekend. And Lauda still at the moment struggling to show it. Carlospace is the guy leading, and he's looking pretty decent right now. This could be a straightforward victory as we watch to see if anybody can pass Grahamhill. I certainly wasn't expecting him to be this competitive, but he's still running at the podium sort of halfway around the first lap, which isn't a terrible position. I think Mars now will have a look into McLaren, and through he goes. So Jochen Mars does go through into second place. We'll see what sort of pace that McLaren has in clear air. Pache still leading, and let's see if Mars in McLaren can catch him. Grahamhill is like a cork in a bottle here, and is it possible that he's going to score points? Mario Andretti out of the race. He's in third place still at the moment, but he's got Hunt going for it. Lauda's dropped back behind Fittipaldi, so Ferrari's woes getting worse. We thought they would have probably come up onto the podium, but that's not happening. James Hunt now is going to go through on Grahamhill. New British talent versus the old British talent, and James Hunt through into third place, into the podium positions, and Emerson Fittipaldi now makes his way through. So that McLaren looking pretty decent now. Both of them are through. Lauda is the next guy to come up upon Grahamhill, but Hill's closer to the McLaren ahead than the Ferrari behind at the moment. Jochen Mass still trying to chase down carlospace, and actually he does look like he's got a bit of pace, so maybe he can catch up this Brabham. Parche is not going to have it as easily as he would have liked. So this is the way to start 1975, with a bit of a battle for the win of the race, and it would be ideal to see it started this way. Parche still leading, and Jochen Maas in second. What a great start, although initially they were stuck behind Graham Hill, but what a great start. Now Reutemann is up in a 6th. Lauda has dropped back yet again. He's dropped back into 7th place, and there he is running wide and now being attacked by a shadow. He is doing, that's Tompryce. So Lauda doing himself no favours at all, dropped back to 8th place as Emerson Fittipaldi now goes through on James Hunt into the podium. That's 2 McLarens in the podium positions. Carlos Parche still leads the race though, and it looks like he's just about going to have the edge on Jochen Maas. I wonder if Fittipaldi, who is of course the reigning world champion, I wonder if Fittipaldi can do anything about this situation, but I think he's too far back, just lost too much time, stuck behind Graham Hill's Embassy in the early part of the race. There's Fittipaldi. He's got James Hunt, still keeping up good pace with him. So, but that realistically, I think it's a 2-horse race for first and a 2-horse race for third. You got there Graham Hill now still in 5th, trying to hold back Tompryce. He might score points here, Graham Hill, in spite of his car disadvantage, because he's still there now. There's no reason why he can't hold on to the end of the race. Ronnie Peterson up into 10th. Now, Lotus have at least improved on their quali position. It's a shame that it was so lowly. Well, there's Maas now right up behind Carlos Parche and having a look. So clearly McLaren, as they're moving on, are getting stronger. But we are right towards the end of this Grand Prix, and Carlos Parche is going to win it for Brabham. What a great start to 1975, especially for Carlos Parche. And Jochen Maas, who is supposed to be the understudy, has beaten his world champion teammate in the opening race. So not a terrible performance from him either. So yeah, good start to 1975. Interesting to see. It's going to be a wide open season, I would fancy, seeing that the cars weren't that far apart in terms of pace today. And even Graham Hill, you know, he managed to hold his own, and he managed to actually get a point and stay ahead of nikilauda. Who would have thought that coming into the race? Well, Carlos Parche wins the race. Jochen Maas second for McLaren. Emerson Fittipaldi third for McLaren. James Hunt hangs on to 4th in his hesketh, so a point scoring start of the season for James Hunt. Tompryce 5th in the shadow, and then Graham Hill 6th in the Embassy Hill. nikilauda outside the points. Lella Lombardi, she's another one who didn't have really a quick car, but she held position, so she did very, very well there, and to finish in 8th place. Shame she couldn't get forward more for the points, but 8th place is a decent performance for that car. Vittorio Brambilla, her teammate, came up to finish behind her, and then Ronnie Peterson and Jackie Hicks in the Lotuses 10th and 11th. And then Jabouille, making his debut for Tyrrell, actually ended up being the highest Tyrrell, because the Paye finished behind him, and Scheckter, I've got to assume, didn't finish. Neither did Regazzoni. He went out of the race straight away at the start. So, terrible race for Ferrari. One retirement straight away and the other not finishing. The Drivers' Championship then is pretty much as it says on the tin. Carlos Parche leads it on 9 points. Jochen Maas 6. Emerson Fittipaldi 4. James Hunt 3. Tompryce 2. And Graham Hill 1. Then the constructors, McLaren on 10, Brabham on 9, Hesketh on 3, Shadow on 2, Hill on 1. Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching.